Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. So glad you are with us today. You could call us at 1-800-229-3000, and we would love that. Joining me today, Dr. Jill Hubbard. Jill has been Dr. Jill Hubbard for how many years, Dr. Hubbard?
Too many to remember. Long time.
Since
the 90s.
Since the 90s.
I think.
Amazing. And we have also Dr. Alice Benton. Dr. Alice Benton, how long have you been a doctor?
It's hard for me to know as well, but maybe at least 10 years, 12 years.
10 years. And I have played a doctor on radio for approximately 30 years. So anyway, glad you're with us here today, and it is a great day at New Life. It's never just another day at New Life is what we say around here. But here we are halfway through December, and I have to tell you that if there's any way possible you have not purchased a wonderful gift for someone you don't know what to get them, a Bible is a great gift. 1 Year Bible for men, 1 Year Bible for women, Life Recovery Bible, every man's Bible. We have Bibles. We're Bible people here.
I'm going to do that. Thanks, Steve. Sorry.
Now,
did I say that out loud?
You did. You did, and I'm glad you did.
I just thought of people.
Now, we just did another program together, and the thought was that a lot of people hear that kids that don't need medication are taking medication. So the bias is, well, I don't want my child on medication they don't need. But that bias could prevent a child from having medication that would change everything. And I wish that when I was younger that there had been medication for ADHD. No one knew I had ADHD until I heard some people talking about it as an adult, and I go, wow, they're my people. But I just, as a parent, we don't ever want anybody to be on medication that they don't need. Now, I've been introduced to a new medication for ADHD. It's not a stimulant, but it builds up at night norepinephrine in the brain, and so it's a different attack method than stimulant, and it's worth a try if your child has ADHD. But all of us as parents, we don't want our children on something that they don't need, but don't assume your child doesn't need it. Don't you guys think that that's a big barrier for a lot of parents?
Well, I think as a conscientious parent, right, there are concerns because you hear things about medication and there are people that just throw medication at everything. So I think it's right to be cautious and concerned and look at all the options. But if everything you're trying, and I love a lot of the natural routes, but if everything you're trying isn't working, maybe a dose of a medication into the mix would make all the difference in the world. I mean, yeah. I even put off medicating my kids for their ADHD until they were begging for it. And wow, I wished I had done it sooner.
Yeah.
And if you come from a pull yourself up by your bootstraps, just push through, which I do, you don't even think about medication perhaps as an option. I started taking medication for anxiety because I heard Mylan's story, and Steve, you helped me pursue medication for my son's migraine. But we have a push it through attitude. But there is a level at which we need intervention in addition to pushing through.
That's right. Well, fortunately, when you're talking about your son, I had migraines as a child, and I just knew the misery, and there was no medication for kids back then. Anyway, we're not big medication advocates unless someone could benefit from it. The brain is not just something. It's an organ like a kidney, and sometimes it malfunctions and needs medical help. We'll be back.
it had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., January 6th through the 8th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and we are New Life, and we love seeing people live into a brand new life, and we get to see it all the time because people support us. One of the things that's coming up is our Emotional Freedom workshop that's online. It's going to be fantastic. I really think you could change so much. People love it. It's on the 21st of January. Just go to newlife.com, find out about it. And then Intimacy in Marriage, well, that's going to be in February. Let me get the exact date. February
17, 18, 19.
Yeah, 17, 18, 19. And don't tell anybody, but this is the last time that Mylan and Kay will be doing that workshop. And so if you've thought about, well, one day I think we ought to go, it's now. Sign up, get in. You will not regret it. So Emotional Freedom, we've got Restore after that. We've got Intimacy in Marriage. Please come join us for one of these life-changing programs. Right now, we're going to go to the phones. And how about we talk with, well, let's go to Kim. She's from Rogers, Arkansas, and listens to us on the podcast. Hello. Hi, Kim.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Excellent.
First, I want to tell you how much I love you all and how thankful I am that you are there.
Well, take your time, Kim.
For years, so thank you.
You are
I can
welcome.
name each one of you. I love your voices. So
nice.
I am calling. I'm always one of those, I just listen and figure out what they're going to tell me. Then I won't need to call them. But
Yeah.
I decided to be brave and
Good.
call. So
Okay.
here is my question. I have my husband's aunt who's 95 years old, and we moved from California to Arkansas to start a business. We purchased her and her husband's business, and we have other family here, my husband's relatives. You know how at a distance when you see family every 5 years, you think, this is really good. And then you move there and you go, they have problems like we do. So we've kind of walked into that situation. But my real question is, about right before middle of October, I go see his aunt probably 3 times a month. I love old people and I love her dearly, and just go to check in. And one time, about a month ago, she said to me, we needed to talk privately, and I said, okay. So I ended up coming by one day, and no one was there, and she stopped me in her wheelchair in her little apartment, and she said, I need to tell you something, and she began to tell me. She listed about 5 things that I have done, my husband and I have done, that have been grievous to her. And I have to tell you, I honestly am listening, and I kneeled down. I just love older people, and I kneeled down, and my hands were on her knees, and I just was looking. I said, look at me, Aunt Dorothy, and please tell me and look at me. She couldn't do that, but she continued to list things, and I asked her, what do you want me to do? And she said, I don't ever want to see you again. And I said, my heart is so broken. And really, honest, my heart is so broken for her that at this end of this life that she would be carrying such a bitterness and burden and anger. And there is a lot of anger within this extended family here.
Okay,
So,
hold on a second. Let me interrupt you. Okay. So the
Yes,
five
please
things
do.
the 5 things she listed, are they reasonable things? Or are they things she made up? Or tell us about those things.
So one of the things is that she said me, and what's interesting, another aunt told me that I did this, not my husband, but I spoke things against her husband, my husband's uncle, that I spoke things that he did things badly. Another thing she told us is that
Was that true, though?
But
is that true?
You know what? I struggled with that, and you know what? It isn't. No, we have their pictures in our business, and we tell their story daily, how we love them. So I don't know. That is not true. What could be true is, though, I am a person that loves to tell stories and share experiences. And I could have been in a family situation and that was shared, that I shared an experience that he did something not perfect. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm just asking: is there substance to her complaints, or are they irrational? You know. So maybe somebody told her that.
I believe with my heart.
Yeah.
They did. She told me she didn't hear it. I asked her who heard it, and she didn't hear it. Someone else told her that, and the person that told her is it's her daughter who's very bitter and angry. So so anyway, I don't believe there's substance to those things. Okay. Some of those, I don't.
And Kim,
let's hear from Alice and then Jill.
Is she dealing with any paranoia or dementia that you know of?
No, she is not. I know she is not. She is being, what I believe is happening is that she is being, I'll use the word controlled by her daughter, who's trying to separate everyone around her to keep her hands on her. And if I can say, I bring a light into her life. You know, I'll laugh and bring joy, and I bring her pictures off a phone that she never sees of her kids and grandkids, and so there's so much anger and bitterness in that family, and I think that she's just trying to. The more people she can get away from her, the better it is. I could be wrong.
Well, we want to help you, so I want you to listen to. But I do have just one more question. How long ago was it that she said she didn't want to see you again?
Probably about 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks ago.
4 weeks. And
the middle of October. It was the middle of October.
Are you sure that that's true today? Still?
Yes. Oh, very much so. She said, "I have no idea how you even consider yourself a Christian, Kim." Oh my goodness! And that
so
for a woman.
When's the last time when did she say that?
That she said that at the same time when I was leaving, and I said, "I am so sorry."
Okay. Are you sure she's in the same state of mind now as she was then?
Yes, 100%.
Why do you
100%.
Why do you think that?
Because why do I think that? Because my background and love is in gerontology, study of aging. And I have watched her daughter tried to, in the beginning, 7 years ago, tried to say that she had Alzheimer's, which she did not. So I know that, and then she's just, when I've gone to see her in the last about 6 months, when I come, there's just a heaviness on her. I can just see it in her eyes.
All right, but here's what I'm hearing is that you don't know for sure she still believes that she never wants to see you. You don't know that for sure. Could you just agree?
No, you know what?
That?
My letter is not because I don't think she wants to see me. My letter is really trying to clear my heart.
What's the letter?
I say to her, "I love you."
What's the letter?
Well, I want to write. My thought is to write her a letter and say, "I love you, and I am so sorry for the pain that you're carrying. And my desire is to know that if anything that I have said and done has hurt you and caused you harm, please forgive me." That was not my heart and my desire.
Usually, if there's anything I've ever done thing, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to have an impact. That if you did find one thing that was substantive, then and say, you know what, I can see how this would be so hurtful. that gives you some credibility.
Or
there.
letting
But
her
Jill,
know you're really examining your heart on the
Yeah.
things that she
Yes.
said, and maybe
Right.
even be specific
Yes.
about those things.
Yeah.
And you're trying
Yes.
to see it from how maybe others may have seen it, since that
Yes.
wasn't your
There you
intention.
go.
And if
Right.
how she presented it is how people received it, then it really so grieves you,
Yeah.
because that was a misstep, right? It's not what was in your heart.
Right.
And I would start that letter
Right.
with, I really miss being with you.
yeah.
And then I would
Oh,
tell
I love
her,
that.
I really miss being with you. Our visits meant so much to me because even when you said you didn't want to see me, well, don't say that, because then you're reminding her. She might not
Right,
even remember.
right.
But just
Yes,
but tell her
yes.
our visits were so full of laughter, whatever. But be positive, and then tell her that you have never stopped thinking, searching your heart, like Jill's saying, and then maybe you give her some way to let her know, let you know that you want her back in, that she wants you back in
if she
her
could ever
life.
find it in her heart to
Yeah.
forgive you.
Could you call me, or could you text, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Okay.
Could you let me know, or you could even say this, I'm going to call you on the 5th, and if you want to talk, well, please answer. If you don't answer, and I will totally understand. Something like that. So,
But you're
yeah.
also highlighting
that-
the goodness of the relationship, so that hopefully it's a contrast
Yeah.
to the pressure that she's getting. I'm also wondering, do you have a relationship with this daughter, this cousin?
No, and that's a clear boundary that my husband and I needed to set. Without a lot of detail, we just
Okay.
need to set a boundary with her.
Okay.
It's not, anyway, yeah.
So, Kim,
That's a whole nother phone call.
you may very well be being rejected because of the goodness that you bring to this situation. And the Bible tells us this, Matthew 10:22. We will be hated because of our attempt to be more Christ-like. And that rubs some people so wrong. And so that may be the case. I also want you to consider
Alice, I hear you. Okay.
I want you to consider your
I was
aunt's...
just going to say I hear you.
Go ahead.
I'll be quiet.
You-
Go ahead.
Good.
I was just going to say I hear you, because I feel that I've been feeling very strongly that I need to be bold in love in just other areas of life. Not problem areas, but just other areas of life of where we're living in. And I felt this also was part of a rejection, Satan's way to say, we're going to just show you. You're just going to shut you down because you so worry and care about people so much that we're going to shut you down. And so I have been prayerfully rejecting that. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
And your behavior may be shining a light on what her daughter is not
Yeah.
doing, and her daughter may dislike you for it.
Right.
One last thought. Consider Aunt Dorothy's history, because the benign things you did
yes.
may be reminders of ways she was hurt by someone else in the past. And so maybe your good actions actually were hurtful because of her past, not because of you.
Well,
right.
and two,
Right.
the part of the piece with the daughter too, if she's envious and jealous, or she has past grievances in her life, the ending of her parents' life or her mother's life is a chance to kind of have revenge or
Absolutely.
justice, right? It's like, finally now I can step in and get what was owed me.
quick
So-
question: how does she
You're
get her
referring
mail?
to me.
How does she get her mail?
So she lives in an assisted living, and
Okay.
that's the question, because her daughter does come every week, and my question is if that letter would ever get to her. But I
Yeah.
felt in my heart that my job is not to decide how
Yeah.
if she gets it or not.
Right.
That I will
Well,
write that letter as,
okay.
and I appreciate
let-
your help and insight.
Let me tell you why I asked. How far does she live from you?
Oh, I could be there in 10 minutes.
Well, I want to make a suggestion.
Not far.
I would give her a gift. I would wrap it in a box with the letter on top. If you knew there was something she loved, preserves or just cake, pie, whatever, and I would drop it off.
Hand
at
it
the-
to a nurse.
Yes,
that
and
you
say,
asked
would you
specifically.
please this is her favorite pie, or this is her favorite jam. Would you please take this to her? That's how I would be assured that she got it. And a gift to her that says that she loves something opens her up even more than just a plain old letter that she may never get. But that's what I'd do. I'd get a gift for her, put the letter in, and hand it to one of those folks at the assisted living place.
I can. You guys are so smart. I love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask my wife to listen to this 30 seconds that you just shared there.
I'll tell her.
All right.
All acclamations for each of you.
You're listening to New Life Live, and I hope and pray something we say to somebody else is something that's going to help you or someone you love, care about. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have folks there that woke up this morning and they came to work. They wanted to help. But we don't know who to call. You have to call us. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If we knew who to call, we would call you and say, hey, I heard you were really not doing well. But we don't know how to do that. So call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. There's no shame in it. It's confidential. It might be a book, counselor, workshop, something could really help. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't benefit from emotional freedom. We're all bound or stuck or struggling in some area. What are we going to do there, Chris?
Just really help people get clarity around the places where they're stuck in their life. They sort of circle the same mountain of disappointment over and over and over again. You're going to be able to see that mountain clearly and get to a new place of what we call emotional freedom, which is simply I can feel in the world, build a relationship to it, and know what to do with my experiences.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, January 21st. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie Mack-Harris will present information on trauma, depression, codependency, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or register online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 1-Year Bible for Men or the 1-Year Bible for Women. These Bibles combine the best-selling daily Bible reading format with 2-minute daily devotionals written to create a one-of-a-kind devotional Bible that you'll love. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back and glad that you're still here. We're going to always still be here. You know, next year we celebrate 35th anniversary, and we're asking everybody to give $35,000 in honor. No, that's not true. We'll come up with something, though, that has to do with 35. Anyway, glad you're with us, and remember, Emotional Freedom is coming up, and that's January 21st. It's online, so anybody can do it. It's so great, so helpful. Guilt, shame, depression, procrastination, unhealthy relationships, those things, you know, maybe from the past that people have been saying, hey, you don't have to mess with your past. Okay, fine, don't mess with your past. But when they seep into the present, they are no longer the past. And sometimes we have to divorce someone from the past so we can be married to someone in the present. Or we have to resolve something in the past so we can be fully present in the present. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's talk with Russell, Corpus Christi, Texas. Hi, Russell. How are you? Russell, you there? Well, I hope Russell is just doing something else. You know, we'll leave him on here. And we'll go right over here to Megan from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Megan. How are you today? We may have.
Hi.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi.
Thanks for being there.
I'm good.
Because
I'm so
yeah.
I'm so sorry. I went inside this restaurant, so I had to run back out. So let me get to
Glad
my
you
car.
did. Okay.
I'm
You
so
take
sorry.
you take your time. We've got all the time in the world. Actually, we don't have all the time, but we've got some time here. It's the beginning of the program rather than the end. So,
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Are you in the car now?
I'm in the car. Yes.
All right. How can we help?
Okay. So a good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Completely.
all right. A
Totally.
good friend of mine is helping to raise her teenage sister. The sister wants to transform from a girl to a boy and wants to be called a boy and change the name. But my friend wanted me to call y'all because I'm a ministry partner. I give to your ministry, and I just love you. I got so many of y'all books. I just actually got 7 of your wife's new Bibles. I'm giving them out as Christmas gifts. I just got them the other day. But anyway.
Oh, those people are going to love them. I tell you, they're going to love them. All right.
My friend wants a resource that could help her sister and her family because she did share with me that their parents won't have anything to do with her teenage sister because of her life choice. So she just wants a resource, and I didn't know which one. I was looking all last night.
All right, hold on.
I just said I was just gonna
how old is she?
17.
Okay. Let me just say this right off the bat. So, for a person to want to change their gender, they have to experience tremendous alienation, isolation, misery, and they believe that this gender change is going to change everything. Well, if you've been around very long, you learn that no one thing changes everything. And that's why, even though the secular media would like to not make this known, so many people are really dissatisfied, and many of the studies that say they aren't are defective studies. So what I would say to you is I would have your sister look at a video. Pat Sprinkle interviews a woman named Helena, and she was in the midst of transitioning to becoming a male. And she became curious, and she discovered that the same things she was seeing online for people with gender dysphoria or anything that she was going through was very similar to the things that were online posted by anorexic females. Because so there was like everybody trying to make their situation worse than somebody else's situation or as bad as someone else, and this community was forming. It was like a social contagion of people, and that caused her to do some research. She's very bright. She quit taking the testosterone she was taking, and she is a heterosexual female. She is not a Christian, which, in strange as it may seem, gives her even more credibility. Nobody can write her off as like, oh, she's one of these fundamentalist Christians, you know. And she's absolutely amazing. I would have your sister watch that. Alice, do you remember the name of his book?
I do. Preston Sprinkle, and he wrote Embodied.
Yeah, Embodied.
And he differentiates some of the things that Steve is talking about, because there's a gender dysphoria that starts very young, even under 5 years old, and it's usually connected to trauma. And then there's acute gender dysphoria, which is more of a social contagion. And we see that some mental illnesses do have a social contagion aspect to it, like eating disorder, as Steve is mentioning.
Right.
So the real point is, no matter which one it is, it's to take the pain seriously that is motivating her to find this sort of solution, and to insist upon therapy to help her deal with all the things that are influencing her, whether it's social, whether it's traumatic, to address those with a professional that has experience with this.
And I'll tell you, I don't find anything in Scripture that says Jesus would say to a child like this, I don't have anything to do with it.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. I just want to say this too, Megan. The worst thing that your friend's sister's parents could have ever done is to reject this girl. And I would just hope and pray that if they would watch these videos, your friend would watch them, and maybe the parent, but the rejection, well, it's talked about in the video how when her mother rejected her, then she went into a lesbian relationship, and then the rest goes from there.
And we know that same-sex attraction for women is often linked to that mother hunger. It's much younger. It just gets sexualized, right?
That's right.
And I really wonder in the trans situations and people moving into all the alphabet of letters, what their same-sex friendships have been like growing up. Because I've said multiple times here that the same-sex friend, best friend, all girls and boys too need a same-sex best friend. And you are infatuated with your same-sex best friend, your buddies, right? You need that for acceptance, but it's not a sexual relationship. It's a deep friendship. So that's a really important precursor to how you feel about yourself and moving forward into romantic relationships.
And I would resist calling the teen by the male name and treating them as a boy, because the majority of gender dysphoria cases in the teenage years actually resolve, and they find a level of comfort with their own gender when we don't move into the gender transitioning.
Well, and the other thing is, you don't have to call somebody by either the name they were born with or the one they picked. You can have a relationship with someone and you don't mention their name ever. You just talk to them. You say,
and
hey,
I usually call her sweetie anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a big argument, and somebody's trying to make a point with it. But rather than say, Leonard, would you come over here and talk with me? You would just say, hey, could we talk? I mean, there's just, you don't have to make a point of the name.
Right.
Now, I want to suggest one more thing. Bill Maher is one of the most liberal folks on television. If you go to HBO and you look for his video on homosexuality and gay people, he makes a very humorous but amazingly accurate. He even though he's liberal, he's like makes every point that every conservative would want to hear. And I think that's worth watching because he really makes the point that we have gone too far. Now, I don't want to discount the misery that someone can experience from a very, very early age. I have a friend that, I mean, at age 3, this girl wanted to shoot guns and play with snakes, and there was a problem. And there can be all sorts of physiological things, hormone imbalance, a lot of different things. I don't want to cross out any of that misery. It's there. But this other thing, you know, even Bill Maher, he says, you know, when I was growing up, some girls were tomboys. And it was okay to be a tomboy. No one was saying to them, well, this is who you're going to be the rest of your life. You have to live into this. And many of the tomboys, you know, they grew up and had great relationships. So I just want to say, watch these videos, and I think you'll see how valuable they can be to your friends.
Well, and Steve, you're pointing out that developmentally, childhood, adolescence is for trying on different personas without having to fully commit to them. You're experimenting with who you are. And we want to come along and make it permanent, concretize it, right? Like we're going to just freeze you in time right here. And so we subvert their development.
And I don't want to insult anyone that doesn't deserve to be insulted. But I have to tell you, when someone says, why would I be this way if God didn't want me to be this way? Now I want to tell you, if that's your reasoning, I'm about to tell you how ridiculous that reasoning is. There are children born with spina bifida, cleft palate. Does God want them born that way? No. In a fallen world, these things happen. There are people born with Down syndrome. Does God want that? No. God wants people to be whole, but in a fallen world, there's disease, there's deformity. And so when somebody says, well, I have this desire, it must be right. Well, not all desires are right. It isn't right for someone to desire to have sex with somebody that's married. That's not right. It isn't right to desire to have sex with a child or an animal. There are limits. What we do have is the gift of connection that can help us develop restraint rather than act on every feeling. So if you've been using the argument, well, this is the way God made me, surely He didn't make me this way and not want me to be this way. That is ridiculous. People are born with things that God, if this was in the garden, they'd never be born that way. There's a better way. And the sooner we help people see it, the better it is. Alice, Jill, anything you want to add to that?
Well, when it comes to teens who want to transition, I think the bottom line message is help them seek to understand the why of the desire and then help them to wait before pursuing that as long as humanly possible. And it's so likely that there will be resolution before gender transition.
Right. Yeah. So don't get over focused on how they want to dress. Right? They can dress any way they want, but it's not making it permanent is, I think, important.
Bill Maher says that if we believed that whatever a young person wants, they deserve, they'll follow it and they'll find it, then everyone would grow up and believe and become princesses and police officers. So, or firemen. You got to see the video to really appreciate what he's done there. And for a liberal like him to make these points, pretty amazing. Let's go to Rose. Nashville, Tennessee podcast is where she views us. Hi, Rose. How are you?
Hey, hi. How are you today?
Excellent.
Good to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
I just had like a super fast comment on the caller from yesterday. I'm obviously listening on a podcast, so I heard yesterday's. And she was calling, she and her husband were having a discussion in their family about how to celebrate Christmas for children between the ages of 1 and 13.
Yeah.
And Mylon was mentioning that he felt that we overemphasize Santa Claus and it kind of confuses children.
Yeah.
And so my kid is actually 23 now, and we kind of went the way of Santa Claus actually steals Jesus' birthday. So we didn't obviously you can see him everywhere, so we didn't he doesn't exist, but more like we just didn't emphasize him at all. And what we did emphasize, we went with the positive, because people always ask little kids in the store, oh, what is Santa Claus going to bring you? And we always went with, well, the 3 wise men are going to bring us. And I actually had read it in a magazine when he was little. So, and he always got 3 gifts. The gold gift is your big gift or a big present that you would really like a toy or something. And frankincense is something to draw you closer to Jesus. So it would be something like to play with in church or something that would help you at family worship. And then the myrrh gift is something for your comfort, because that's what they wrap Jesus in. And so that would be like slippers.
Love that. Oh my gosh.
Something warm, cuddly, cozy. And so we just always emphasize that. And then she was also mentioning the elf on the shelf thing, and we really overemphasized Advent, and we always had when we did that, we didn't do a lot of sweets and stuff, but at Christmas we always every night when we had worship, we did a really fun book about Advent. We did cookies and hot chocolate, and we just overemphasize Advent as a really fun thing, so that the elf on the shelf thing wasn't such a big deal. And I hear your music, but anyway, that's just my comment.
Hey, Rose.
I hope that they find the right place. Yeah.
Rose, thank you for this.
I'm here.
You should write a book. I would love to hear how you celebrate Easter. But let me send you my wife's 1-Year Bible for Women, and I think you'll love that. Thanks for sharing this. You guys, it seems to me, you've done it well and have inspired all of us to step up our Christ-centeredness during Christmas. And God bless you. You know, it's not too late. Even if you have a 26-year-old out there, you could say, hey, this year, here's what we're doing at Christmas. And bring in some of this rose water that we've been blessed with today. We'll be back right after.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Orange County, California, February 24th through the 26th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Hi, this is Stephen Arterburn from New Life Ministries. We know that Christian counseling changes lives. We hear evidence of that every day.
My relationships with my husband, with my friends, with my family are much richer and deeper and honest. Particularly my relationship with God, I see Him in a more accurate form and begin to trust Him more. There's joy and there's peace because I have the internal tools that I can trust. So it's radically changed my life. I'm just not even the same person.
Our nationwide network of licensed Christian counselors means there is help available near you.
Take the leap, jump in, and go for it. It's changed my life completely.
You don't have to be stuck where you are, but you can't really expect to change unless you take action. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It could be the start of a whole new life for you. Christian counseling works, and we can help. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE today. Someone who cares is always there at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, and I have a group of people that are part of the Every Believer's Thought Life. That's the new book that comes out in January. They're part of the launch team. And if you would help me, and I rarely ask for help except from therapists, if you would help me, you would join our launch team. And to do that, you would go to New Life Live on Instagram. Also on Instagram, I'm known by The Real Stephen Arterburn. See, there's a fake one out there. And so they gave me The Real Stephen Arterburn on Instagram. Or you could go to Facebook, and that's just Steve Arterburn or New Life. But come join the launch team. You pre-order the book on Amazon. You comment on it after you get it and read it. And then you get special stuff as part of the launch team. But I'm excited about this book because thought life is kind of like everything. So, man, I hope you'll help with that. And now we will go to our final caller. I'm sorry I couldn't get to every call, but let's talk with Russell. We tried earlier, and now we actually get to talk to him. Russell, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey, good afternoon. I'm so sorry. I was trying to get to you guys, and yeah, I think one bad spirits was on the phone because I was clicking over and nobody heard me.
Now, there's something weird. Now, Russell, there's something kind of weird about your phone. It clicks and cuts out. So I'm going to ask you to try to be brief in asking your question, and then we'll give you the answer. Can you do that?
Yes, sir. I'm going to be brief. Yes, sir. So my question is, I have a 28-year-old daughter, right? And I'm calling to get some advice, a direction on what my next step should be. So I'm giving her a list of expectations from today moving out. And one of the expectations was for her to attend some trauma therapy weekly and to attend some drug classes weekly. Mm-hmm. And she didn't get no further than the drug classes and was like, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to figure out what is my next step here? Because
okay, so what kind of drugs is she using?
She has been prescribed drugs for anxiety and depression, but the illegal stuff is the marijuana.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with you, Jill. Here's somebody, and he's doing the right thing. He's saying, I can't support the way you're living here, so let's make some changes.
So a question would be, are you supporting her in terms of, is she a fully functioning adult person who is supporting herself? Has she asked you for help? The evidence of maybe not being at that point, how does that fall on you? And where are some areas where maybe you can pull back? Because we want to help them move forward and do what's positive. We don't want to support in them doing things that keep them stuck or keep them in a declining position.
Right. And people say, I can't throw them out onto the street. And I say, don't. Move them to the driveway where they won't get hit by a car. You can move them out of the house without moving them out on the street. Now, here's what happens when people move folks out of the house. They don't live on the street most of the time. They go live with somebody else, and then they live with somebody else, and then finally they want to come back home, and then they get the help that they need. I've seen it happen over and over again. But I think you have to decide whether or not you really are done with enabling her to do very little with her life. Alice, what are your thoughts here?
Russell, if she is willing to do the trauma treatment and allowing it to include your participation to some extent, I might give a trial period of time requiring that she address her resistance to the drug classes within the trauma treatment. Because it may be that her use of marijuana, it's so often justified as that's the treatment for anxiety, when it's really not one of the better treatments, and it exacerbates anxiety and can even cause paranoia and schizophrenia-like symptoms long term. So asking her to address her resistance with the therapist and having permission to get feedback from the therapist, if she were willing to do all of that in the trauma therapy, I might give an extended trial period to see if the willingness would change, because it might be so linked to the trauma. And I would make sure, Russell, that you're looking at whatever your part was in the trauma, and maybe you were just a witness to it, maybe you're just her father, maybe you had some role in it. And so cleaning up your side of the street while asking for this very good list of expectations. But as parents, if we're going to set the standard and our children refuse to follow through with it, then eventually we have to bring the consequences about to bear. And those consequences are loving to our children.
And so hard to do when we love our children. But we really have to ask ourselves, is there something that I'm doing that kind of makes me feel better, but it hasn't produced 1 ounce of change in my child? And so to stop doing that, you have to identify the fatal excuse. So your fatal excuse might be, well, when she turns 30, she'll get better. Well, I can't throw her out on the street. That's a common one. Or, well, the trauma she went through as a child, I just can't. Those fatal excuses kill the potential and sometimes even the lives of kids that need that tough love experience. And it's not easy to do. I'm going to send you Understanding and Loving Your Child Who Smokes Pot. That's one of our great resources here, and we'll get that to you.
So can I just add a quick thought?
Yes.
In addition to all of this, I think at the same time you want to be appealing to and calling out the adult in her and getting her to articulate what she wants for herself and how is she getting there, so that she can start to feel the conflict of her actions and what her future self would want. Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad that you called. One of the things that you often hear is, well, hey, marijuana is legal. Okay, tobacco is legal. It's not good for you. Margarine is legal. It clogs up arteries faster than anything I know of. So you can't say that because something is legal, it's good. How'd I do on that? Okay.
Yeah,
so anyway, we love you and we
true.
want the best for you. We want the best for the people that are counting on you to do the right thing. And there are, I tell therapists all the time, if you're not good, please get out of doing therapy, because there are people you're not seeing, like grandchildren, that are counting on you. Generations to come are counting on you to help this person be the transitional generation. And if you're not doing that, would you please turn them over to somebody that's really good at this? Well, look, if you've been trying something for a long time as a parent or grandparent and it's not working, how about bringing in somebody else to help you figure out what's the best thing to do? It's not easy to do that. If you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And men, if you could just go ahead and sign up for Every Man's Battle in Washington, D.C. It's January the 6th. I don't know of anybody that's ever said, I've just got too much integrity in my life. That'll help you get there. And couples, February 17th, be the best ever. Last time Milo and Kay are going to do it, so I hope you'll sign up right now. Dr. Jill Hubbard, thank you so much for being with us. Dr. Alice Benton, thank you. And if you want more of us, support us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.